The girl I knew but never met, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Femel. This summer, I went to a festival in Holland. After I'd spent a great and sunny day at the festival, my friends and I decided to go to an after party. This party was held at an underground techno club in Utrecht. After an hour of dancing, I started to feel tired, and I decided to chill at the entry of the club, next to the lockers. I chilled there for about a half an hour on my own until a group of girls wanted to grab something out of their locker. Then, I saw her. One of the girls looked at me straight in the eye, and the first thing I thought, I knew her from school or a party or something. Normally I'm quite good with remembering names, but I couldn't remember hers. So after staring at each other, we started laughing because it was actually a very weird situation. She asked, "Do I know you?" And I replied, "I don't know." And she didn't know either. So she sat down next to me while the other girls returned to the party. We started to ask each other random questions like, "Do you know my name?" and "Do you know where I live?" And from there it became weird because every question we asked each other, we knew the answers, or at least parts of it. When she asked me what her name was, I said something like Melissa, and her actual name was Lisa. We started to think that we might have met before, and we looked each other up on Facebook. It said we had one mutual friend. Turned out we both knew this mutual friend from a holiday and have never saw him before. Lisa met him when she was on a holiday in France, and I met him at the airport in London. Obviously this was very weird, and therefore we continued our conversation. She said to me, "I have the feeling you look like one of your grandmas." "Yes," I replied. "Why do you think that?" She said, "I look like my grandma too." I asked her what's my grandma's name, and she actually guessed the right name. And to make things even more creepy, she said, "I guess because that's my grandma's name." We kept talking for hours and it felt so weird, almost as if I had met her in another life. We had so many similarities. I do not feel like some coincidental luck that made us guess the right names, but it actually felt like we knew things about each other, but had never told these things to each other. After this, we never spoke to each other again, but I still have this weird feeling. I've never experienced something like this before, and it was definitely creepy. Creepier than it sounds in this story. I want to know if somebody experienced the same thing and if there's somebody who has an explanation for this. Nightmare that freaked me out. Posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Femel. About 2 years ago, I had a nightmare, and this one still freaks me out. I sleep at the garden side of my house, so when I look through my window I can see the whole garden. I dreamed that I woke up and heard something in the garden, so I moved my curtain to see what it was. I saw a man in the darkness walking in my garden and walking to the table. The keys of the house were laying on this table, and the man grabbed them and walked to the back door of our house, where he tried to open the door. At this point in the nightmare, I'm very scared and I wake up for real this time. The messed up thing was that I fell back asleep and dreamt the same thing over and over again, and every time when the guy was trying to enter the house, I woke up. The next morning, I came downstairs, and during breakfast I told my parents about my nightmare. My mother looked shocked and said, "I've been searching this whole morning to find my keys because I had to walk the dog until I found them on the table in the garden." Obviously, this scared me. Sometimes I even think that this man has actually been in my garden, trying to get into the house. I was supposed to be late. Posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Nikki Mouse. A little background info. I go to a medium-sized university. The earliest classes offered are at 8 a.m., but nobody ever signs up for those, so truly, the earliest class times are 9:35s. I have a 9:35 class twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm not a morning person, and I've always had trouble getting to these classes even though it's fairly reasonable for the start of the day. Last night I fell asleep watching TV in my dorm. I live alone, so I don't have to worry about a roommate being annoyed with my late night HGTV. I forgot to set my alarm to 8:45 as I usually do the night before my 9:35 class. It was set to go off at 9 a.m., which doesn't give me quite enough time to get ready for class with 1 or 2 snoozes in there. Anyway, next thing I know, I wake up to an alarm. I snooze it, sleep for another 9-ish minutes, and get woken up by the reiteration of the same alarm. I start to wake up by catching up on my phone, texting my dad, reading some news stories, etc. I do this for about 5 or 6 minutes before I realize I only have 20 minutes to get ready and be at class. I hopped out of bed, got dressed, started boiling some water for coffee, and brushed my teeth. My morning routine is fairly quick, but waiting for the coffee can really lengthen it. So I'm checking my phone in between steps of the brewing, 10 minutes to get to class, 5 minutes to get to class. With 2 minutes to spare, I run out the door, coffee in hand. It only takes me about 3 minutes to get to class, which is probably why I always think I can push it. I walk quickly and get inside. As I board the elevator, I look at my phone to see if I had any texts. That's when I noticed that it was 8:35, not 9:35, 8:35. If I could put numbers in all caps, I would, because that's how I felt about it. I checked my watch, and sure enough, it said the same thing. I thought it must be a mistake. I got off the elevator, and sure enough, the classroom was dark and empty. I wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. I was an hour early for class. I could have sworn it was 9:35. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for this, but I just cannot explain why my alarm woke me up at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. I double-checked, and sure enough, it was set for 9 a.m. As I was writing this, my 9 a.m. alarm went off. I have an iPhone, and I use the native alarm app, to which my knowledge is fairly reliable. Was it a glitch in my phone, or a glitch in the Matrix? My life is a quick-time event, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by I Don't Even Like Walnuts. So about a week ago, I was walking to my job, a normal day, normal route, normal aura and feel of the day. I stop at an intersection and wait for the light to walk. I'm about halfway across the road when I stop and get a pulsing headache. I reach for my head and heard something in my head tell me to jump. So I did. Right as I jump back, and a semi speeds around the corner and misses me by about 3 inches. This isn't the first time this has happened. Once I was on a boat and this happened. The master fell, and I was able to catch it before it landed on my friend. Things like this have happened ever since I was a kid. And there have been times I've just known the branch on the tree I was climbing was going to break, or times when things flying through the air have narrowly missed my head, or times I've, as clear as day, heard something tell me to do something, and doing those things have saved my life more than once. Glitch in the Matrix? Maybe. Supernatural? It's possible. Freaky? Very. The Graveyard That Wasn't There, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Lana Lumark. So, yesterday my husband got off work early. He works on a military base and they didn't want everyone driving all over as the base kids were trick-or-treating, safety measures and all. He comes home and we're about to head to the bank. It's literally at one end of this 3-mile-long road, and we're on the other end. Since this road is smack in the middle of the other main roads to any and everything else in this town, it's hard to imagine not knowing every detail on this thing, as I've got to drive it to get anywhere. So we're heading to the bank, and my husband is telling me about work. Same old stuff about this woman getting away with everything she can. I'm looking out the window, and after passing the usual gas station, few houses, I see an opening in the trees about 30 to 40 headstones. I about lost it because I've never seen this before. And they were as legit as could be. Some were very old, with letters, worn and moss covering parts of it, with a few newer ones that look like they haven't touched a drop of rain. I pointed it out to my husband, and his jaw dropped too, since he drives this road more frequently than I. We talked about it for a minute, slightly bewildered, but we arrived at the bank another 2 to 3 minutes later. After one more errand, we headed back on the same road. Now, I'm slightly suspicious, as it was Halloween and believing in the otherworldly and unexplainable I'm smoking. Yes, I know it's bad for you, hush. And see, we're about to come up by that row of houses again in the gas station, so the graveyard should be right there. I look around and pointed out to my hubby again, and we both realized it's not there anymore. Not sure if it was some otherworldly event because of Halloween or what, but we got a bit creeped out, went home, and watched some movies. Not extremely scary, but still a weird glitch nonetheless.